The soft chime of the automatic doors announced another customer entering Morgan's grocery store. Sarah, a 25-year-old cashier with warm brown eyes and an easy smile, glanced up from her register. The late afternoon sun streamed through the windows, casting a golden glow on the rows of produce and aisles of goods. Sarah loved her job, not because it was glamorous, but because she enjoyed the little interactions with people. She liked being a friendly face, especially in a small town where everyone seemed to carry their own quiet struggles. That day, as she scanned items for an elderly woman buying her weekly supply of canned goods, Sarah noticed a man hesitating near the register. He looked to be in his early 30s, with tired eyes and a toddler clinging to his leg. The little girl, her curly hair spilling out of a ponytail, held a stuffed bunny in one hand and a half-eaten cracker in the other. "Go ahead, sir," Sarah called gently, motioning him forward. The man gave her a small, grateful nod and started placing his items on the counter. A loaf of bread, a carton of eggs, a gallon of milk, a bag of rice. Everything looked like the basics of someone stretching every dollar. Sarah noticed his worn jacket, the faint lines of exhaustion etched into his face, and the way he avoided meeting her eyes. She glanced at the little girl, who clutched her bunny a bit tighter. "How are you today?" Sarah asked, with her usual warmth as she started scanning the items. "Doing okay," the man replied, his voice low. He dug into his pocket for his wallet, pulling out a handful of crumpled bills and coins. When Sarah gave him the total, $27.53, he paused, his brow furrowing as he counted the money in his hand. "I think I might need to put something back," he said quietly, glancing at the rice. Before Sarah could respond, the little girl piped up, "Daddy, can we still get milk? Bunny's thirsty." Her innocent words made Sarah's heart ache. She could tell this man wasn't just having a tough day. He was carrying the weight of trying to make ends meet for his daughter. Without thinking, Sarah reached into her apron pocket and pulled out a $10 bill she had planned to use for her own lunch. She quickly typed a discount into the register and smiled. "Looks like there's a sale on the rice today," she said lightly, sliding the bag back into his cart. The man's eyes widened as he realized what she'd done. "No, I can't let you do that." Sarah shook her head. "It's already done, and it's just a small thing. You don't need to worry about it." For a moment, the man looked like he might protest, but then his shoulders slumped, and he gave her a nod of thanks. As he packed up his groceries and lifted his daughter into his arms, he turned back to Sarah. "You don't know what this means to me," he said, his voice thick with emotion. Sarah smiled. "Take care of yourself. And her." The next day, Sarah was back at work, her usual spot behind the register. She had all but forgotten about the encounter when a man in a neatly pressed shirt approached her line. He looked familiar, but it took her a moment to recognize him. It was the same man, only now he seemed lighter, as if a weight had been lifted. In his hands, he held a small bouquet of flowers and a card. "These are for you," he said, setting them down on the counter. Sarah blinked, caught off guard. "Oh, you didn't have to do that." "I did," he replied, his voice steady. "You didn't just help me yesterday. You reminded me that there's still kindness in the world." She looked at him, touched but unsure what to say. "I'm Ben, by the way," he added, offering a small smile. "And this is for you, too." He slid the card across the counter. Inside was a simple message. "Thank you for seeing me and my daughter when it felt like no one else did. Your kindness gave me hope." Sarah felt her throat tighten as she read the words. She glanced up at Ben, who was holding his daughter, the little girl waving her stuffed bunny at her. Over the following weeks, Ben became a familiar face at the store. Each time he came in, he'd stop to chat with Sarah, sharing little updates about his daughter or asking about her day. Slowly, Sarah learned more about his story. Ben had lost his wife to an illness 2 years earlier. Since then, he had been raising his daughter on his own, juggling odd jobs to keep a roof over their heads. It wasn't easy, but he was determined to give her the best life he could. Inspired by Sarah's kindness, Ben started reaching out for help, a community support group, a local food bank, and even a part-time job at a nearby hardware store. Things began to turn around for him, and through it all, he never forgot the cashier who had seen him in his moment of need. Months later, Sarah came into work to find a letter waiting for her at the register. Inside was a picture of Ben and his daughter, both smiling brightly, with a note that read, "Dear Sarah, I just got a promotion at the hardware store, and we're moving into a little apartment next month. None of this would have been possible without your kindness that day. You didn't just help me buy groceries. You helped me believe in myself again. Thank you for everything." Tears welled in Sarah's eyes as she folded the letter. It was a simple act, a few dollars, a kind word, but it had changed someone's life. From that day on, Sarah kept the letter in her apron pocket as a reminder that even the smallest kindness could make a world of difference.